everyone. Welcome and happy Valentine's Day to you. What a fun holiday Valentine's Day is. My name is Ginger Bell. I want to welcome you to the Finance of America Mortgage from Panic to Peace webinar. And today we're going to talk about the 7 steps to creating a wow experience with 203K and homestyle renovation loans. And it's presented by Finance of America. As you are logging on today, you can listen to us a couple of different ways. You can either listen through your computer or you can call in. Either way is fine. And you can find that information on the invitation that you received. And if you have any questions today throughout the webinar, and we always have a lot of questions when we go through the Reno program, so we want to make sure that we can address all of those for you. You can either type that in the chat panel or in the question box. And let's go ahead and make sure you know how to ask that. And let me know where you're calling in from. It looks like our weather's not too bad across the country. It was crazy last year. That tells you how I'm at last week. I'm in the Pacific Northwest and kind of got snowed out for a while, but it looks like weather is improving somewhat for everyone. So if you can type in, let me know you can hear me. I appreciate that, and happy Valentine's Day. Let me know what special things you're doing for Valentine's Day. One of those nice little holidays that you don't have to do much, but it involves chocolate, which I always like, and maybe wine if you're good. Hey, I just posted up there too for everyone a link to the slide deck today, and you guys are funny watching Terminator. What you do on Valentine's Day? Oh my gosh! But we do have a copy of this slide.
Matrix. I'm going to watch all 3 of the Matrix movies starting at 6 o'clock tonight, just to binge.
Oh, for Valentine's Day. Oh my gosh. We must all be in the mortgage industry doing the kind of stuff that we're doing on Valentine's Day. I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to be doing today. It's like I've been traveling for the past 2 weeks, so I'm just happy to be home for a little bit. So let's move on. As I said, I put the copy of the slide deck up there. You want to grab that, you can do it there, and I'll send a follow-up email as well. So I am recording this session, so if you have somebody that didn't get on, we can send out a recording to them later on. We do have some upcoming webinars. You know, we do a lot of great training at Finance of America, and so our other 2 webinars for this month, we are doing a backed by popular demand, the 2 Extend closed end second webinar, and that'll be next Tuesday, February 19th. Guys, this is a great loan program. It is absolutely fabulous to tie in for your borrowers for both purchase and refi. So hop on that webinar, and then next Wednesday, William and I will be doing how to complete the maximum mortgage worksheet, and we're going to go through step by step on that. So you can register for all of our webinars at famuevents.com. That's www.famuevents.com. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. And my name is Ginger Bell. I'm an education specialist in the mortgage industry, and I am here with William Brown, who is the National Renovation Sales Manager for Finance of America. So welcome, William.
Thank you.
And we were just talking about travel. I know you said you were in Minneapolis. Are you? And I didn't catch. Are you back home in Indiana, or are you still in Minneapolis today?
I'm back home. I made it in and out with no flight delays.
Yay! Awesome. Yeah, that's always good. So William and I were talking about some of the things to be able to help you all to get into renovation loans. And, you know, with a lot of the changes that are happening within the mortgage industry as far as just kind of slowing down in production, it's important to be able to look for ways to stand out. And the renovation home loan really provides one of those ways to be able to stand out, to do some marketing, to talk to your realtors about. But a lot of people stay away from it because they think it is challenging. And so William came up with the title From Panic to Peace, and I absolutely love that because our goal is to be able to provide you with that kind of an experience for Reno loans. So today we're going to go through the 7 steps to creating a wow experience. And the things we're going to talk about is recognizing opportunity, knowing the products, how to qualify correctly, understanding the process, how to educate your borrowers, how to set expectations, and establishing the follow-up. But we want to begin with really asking, what is wow? What is a wow experience? And what studies have found is great communication creates those wow experiences. And a wow experience is truly a unique, emotionally engaging interaction that goes beyond your expectations and are readily accounted. Now, wow experiences can be both positive and negative. So not all wow experiences are positive, and some of us actually recall those wow experiences that are negative a little more easily than we may even the positive. But we want to create a wow experience, and I always love numbers. I'm a numbers gal, so I like to know how things get backed up. And so there was actually a wow study that was done. And this wow study, they spent 2 years looking for information on what creates a wow experience. And they talked to over 920 respondents in 7 different countries. So this wasn't just something that was concentrated in North America. And what they did is they asked to recall a top-of-mind, memorable customer experience. And it could be either a negative or a positive experience. And from all of those top-of-mind experiences, what they found through the survey was wow experiences are created by people. And that's what we want to really have you focus on today, is how to be able to be involved and create that wow experience. Because wow experiences are not created by the POS, by taking an application online. Can make it easier, but it doesn't make that wow experience. So what we want to do is share with you what those 7 steps are for creating the wow experience with the renovation loan. So William, we're going to start out with step number 1, which is recognizing the opportunity. So it begins with, what is a renovation loan and when are they the right mortgage?
Right. So this is actually probably the biggest part of selling something, is knowing what you're selling, right? And then knowing when to sell it. Because you got to drill down to not just mortgages. You're actually selling someone a solution to a specific problem they have. The renovation loans fit this gap, and I just want to point out that right now, in fact, I just looked at another study yesterday, and they think that by the end of 2019, renovation loans will account for $412 billion, not renovation loans, renovation financing across the country. Spending on renovations by American consumers and homeowners is in excess of $400 billion a year. So there's actually 2 zeros behind that I left off. Okay, so your opportunity are going to be homes in need of repair, which is all across the country. I think the average age of the houses in North America from East Coast to West Coast is about 54 years. Well, you've got all these houses. I like to say they live outside, right? So they get dinged by the weather, food, all kind of stuff happens, and people live in them. You've got houses, you got expired listings, you've got REO sales, you've got estate sales, because our population is aging out of their homes and going on and leaving the houses behind. So you have those. And then you have the deals that fall apart at the appraisal. So those are the obvious things. The things that are not so obvious are just homes that are basically in good shape that need updating or modifications. And so ask your borrower, what are you going to do about renovating the house you buy? Because they are also candidates for renovation loans, or more importantly, or as importantly, they're candidates for spreading the word to other people about the opportunity. Don't forget your refis. If you've been in business for a long time, you have an existing book of customers who are living in their houses longer. Statistically, they're living longer in their houses, 7 to 10 years. We're expecting millennials to stay in their houses for 10 years, but be more ready to move. So people are around longer. And then ask your customers when they come to you for a cash out refi, what are you going to do with the cash? When renovating the house, that's an opportunity to talk about first mortgage financing for renovation loan.
Very good. And so step number 2 is know the products. And there's 3 primary renovation loans that are available with Finance of America.
Right. We're talking about the 2 FHA loans, which are kind of the industry standard. Everybody's familiar with the limited FHA 203K. It used to be called the Streamlined, although it wasn't very streamlined, which is why they changed the name. It's good for projects up to about $30,000 in costs, hard costs, soft costs. Even though it says $35,000, that $35,000 is actually includes finance fees, contingency reserve, and other things. So make sure your borrower understands it's about $30,000 that they can get a bid for. The standard 203K, that's HUD's total solution to resolving property issues, covers all the issues that are not considered to be luxury items, including structural, tear down, rebuild, anything, mold, asbestos, whatever, that, is not a luxury item, and it's supported by the appraisal. And then sort of the new kid on the block who's actually been around half as long as 203K is Fannie Mae Homestyle Renovation Loan, which is a conventional renovation loan, follows all conventional guidelines. It's just on steroids, and it allows for luxury items, non-owner occupied properties, second homes, and investment properties, single-family investment properties. So it actually rounds out the gap. There's a complete complement that meet most renovation situations.
So, and on that, as far as what goes through, and especially talking about the home style, and you talked about it being available for all types of occupancy. The nice thing is, too, because it is a single loan and it has a lot of different repairs, it's something that a lot of people haven't really thought about. So typically when people think of renovation loans, they think about the 203K, right?
Right.
But having all three products that are available at Finance of America is important. So we have a quick question on the 203K, and then I'm going to move on. What is the limit on the standard FHA 203K?
The limit on the standard FHA 203K is your county limit. So it could be the normal limit or the high balance limit. And there's no relationship between the purchase price and the payoff or the price of repairs. As long as it's supported by the appraisal, we can go up to the county limit, and it'll be 96.5 LTV on a purchase and 97.25 on a refinance.
Right. And the nice thing is, too, is it's all wrapped into one. So your realtor is going to get paid at the end. So that's always their question, right? It's like, when I'm going to get paid. You're going to get paid the way you normally do. So nothing changes for the realtor. That's really a standout for you all to talk about, that when you're talking to your real estate agents, is exactly what that is, to be able to do that. I'm attending Motto Mortgage, and I know we have some Motto loan originators on the call. So hello. So glad to have you guys on. But we're doing a session for a RE/MAX conference to the real estate agents, talking about different loan products, because a lot of real estate agents don't necessarily know about this as an opportunity, or if they've heard about it, they might think, oh my gosh, I don't want to do something like that. So this is a great, great opportunity to be able to talk to your real estate agents about, expanding into some of those areas that maybe they haven't, right?
Right.
Okay, so number 3, qualify correctly. And you have on here, what's your number? So tell me, William, what that means.
So that means, to me, you should not get bogged down in trying to figure out how much your borrower can afford to use for renovations. Their number is how much they want to qualify for their mortgage. So if I'm the borrower and I can handle a mortgage of $400,000, that's my number. My renovation budget is going to be the difference between the purchase price and my $400,000. So if you qualify me with that in mind, and I go shopping and I find a house that I can write an offer for at $295, I basically have $100,000 to use to fix up the house. And so then it's really a matter of, can you do what you need to do with the house with $100,000? And most of the time the answer is yes. Even if I don't really know, never talked to a contractor, don't have a bid, but qualify me for how much I can totally afford. Right? Because the loan's going to finance the purchase plus the payoff and all the costs. And so the amount the borrower can or want to borrow, it's always going to be their number. Like, everybody has a number. When I was an originator, no matter how much I could qualify you for, people didn't want a mortgage that big. Right? They wanted a mortgage that was comfortable for them. So that's the budget. It's really that simple.
Right. And then making sure that they use the right information to explain everything, right?
Right. And so my golden rule, the number one thing that you will hear from me if you send me a prosaic, beautiful, scenario, probably written in verse, but with just numbers and a qualified borrower and all the stuff I get, is going to be, put it in the maximum mortgage worksheet so you can see the transaction. Use the worksheet and learn how to explain it to your borrower so that they have confidence in you and they also understand how the money works. There's a hint there. We are doing a webinar on this on the 20th. It's not nearly as scary as it might look like. Excel spreadsheet has formulas built in. You just have to ask the questions, plug in the numbers, and it tells you what the values are. There's a number that you can register. Jennifer, that's you, themortgagelist.com. Register there for this week's webinar.
Yeah, and you can find a lot of different events that are going on there, not just that at Finance of America. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay, so step number 4. understand the process. So you have here, there are more turns on the path to a closed Reno loan. And so starting with understanding the process, where does it begin?
So it's going to begin at the pre-qual, right? These are not straight FHA or conventional loans, although the pre-qual is the same. You got to take a complete app so you understand the borrower, and then do the worksheet, and then run DU on your findings. If you get an approved eligible, your loan's 98% going to close, right? So the process, though, is you do the pre-qual, you send the borrower out to shop, they come back with an offer, you redo the worksheet, factoring in their real numbers, because the first pre-qual was a hypothetical. Now they've got real numbers, and they have a real budget. And then we're going to underwrite the file as soon as we get the the documents we need to do that. So we have a skinny submission checklist that will give us what we need to make an underwriting decision. We underwrite it up front. So it's like 4 or 5 day turn time. So from when you send me the application, we're about a week out getting you your conditional commitment. During that time, if it's, the borrower can be busy thinking about their project, doing other stuff, so they don't have to wait. We will not assign a HUD consultant on a standard until after the underwriting commitment because it costs the borrower money to do that. And we want to make sure that we have a deal that we can close before we ask them to pony up some money to pay somebody to do some work.
Right.
That's
and then the next step is the contractor's bids, and that's always important to understand the process and explain the process, right?
Yes, and so I have talked to several people who tell me that they won't even take the borrower's app until they get a bid. So what that does is it blows up the real estate transaction because
right.
You barely get a bid on a house you're living in. I know from experience getting contractors to come out and give you a bid and then show up and do the work is part of the deal. But you can hardly ever get a contractor to go out and give you a bid on a house you don't even own. So it's not really going to happen. It's going to slow down the whole process. The borrower really has to have confidence in their ability to pay for the repairs based on their budget, okay? And that's really important, that they have to have the confidence to do that, which means that everybody can't do a renovation loan because some people can't make decisions under duress. There's a fair amount of duress when you're buying a house and you're renovating it.
Right. But part of that from the panic to peace is being able to let them know that you have a team, and truly with Finance of America, because you have the project manager, that you have a team to help through the process. And so when you're comfortable and confident with something and you display that same confidence with them, then they're going to be comfortable and confident. And you have to remember, you're the one that's driving that bus. So they're going to follow your direction. And I know they don't always follow the direction. Sometimes they say it's like herding cats with toothpicks. But it's a matter of if you lay it out and you let them know and you give them those, points as far as what's going to happen next in the next step, then they will do what you ask them to do. You just need to make sure you're very clear in what you're doing that. And part of that is going through the process of, getting the bids and going through that dreaming part and letting them know, what's going to fit within their dollar amount. So I think going back to knowing the number is very important as well. Now, you mentioned as far as holding off on the appraisal, and this is the reason why.
Right. A typical real estate transaction, you get your accepted offer and you order the appraisal. You can't do that on a renovation loan because we need an as completed or subject to evaluation done by an appraiser who's competent to do that. So we will order it from our ops center as soon as we have the fully defined scope of work, which could be the work write-up, or it could just be their contractor bids if they're doing limited or a home style. So when we have that, we need that with detail to send to the appraiser. So we order the appraisal after the borrower has made all their decisions. What's going to be done? Who's going to do it? How much does it cost?
Right. And then finally, let the renovation ops manage the renovation piece.
Yeah, and that's really important for us because we this is what we do. So those of you who don't know me or haven't worked with us before, my ops team has been together for 8 years. We've been doing renovation and construction loans together for 8 years. We really understand the process. We understand all the sensitivities, and we will do our part. Like, that's our job. We're not going to just put your file on the side of our desk and let it age for a while and get to it next week sometime. As soon as we have everything that we need to move it to the next step, we move them along. Okay, so we have operational support, which a lot of lenders don't have. Our underwriters underwrite renovation loans almost exclusively, Our Reno project managers have construction management backgrounds and training, and they've been doing loans with us for years. So we've seen lots and lots, hundreds of appraisals, hundreds of projects. We have a good sense of what could go wrong, and that's the knowledge that we bring to make the process go smoother.
Very good. So step number 5, educate your borrowers. And if you've been on my webinars, if you talk to me, you know I am all about edu-marketing. And so letting your borrowers know what they're responsible for, who else is involved in the process. I always like to talk about it's a team event and talk about your team. So what are the things you can do to educate?
Borrowers need to know that they have to make decisions. And so everybody may not be a candidate for a renovation loan, or some people may take more work than others, but they have to act like they own the house. So they have to know up front that, they have to act, they have to decide on the work, find and interview contractors, get all that stuff done so we can order the appraisal. If it's a HUD consultant, we will assign them, but then they have to meet with them. They still have to get a contractor. So there's a whole lot of process stuff that they would not normally do that they have to do. So you need to be telling them that, I need you on deck. It's your stuff that determines the outcome of your closing. A lot of it's on the borrower, right? And then there's some that's on credit processing, some on rental processing, some on closing. But the borrower is the black hole because it's new for them. We already know how to do our jobs. And it's really important that the borrower understand what's in the money, which is why you need to go over the maximum mortgage worksheet with them. Because when I worked someplace else where we purchased a lot of 203K loans, and they blew up during the renovation phase, I'd ask them, they had never seen the worksheet. They didn't understand how the money worked together, what they had to spend. So if you pre-qual them with that in mind, they're better shoppers. And if you're working with millennials, they will really like it because they want to understand and know what's happening. And if you can explain that to them, then you're their guy or their gal, because you told them something that was valuable. But just remember, whatever you tell them, they're going to go online and look it up and see if it's right or not.
Absolutely. So step number 6, set the expectations. And it's important to know what to expect and when to expect it.
And nobody likes surprises. And again, back to millennials, because they're the largest percentage of the people that are going to be buying houses the next decade. They hate surprises. They want to know what's going on. They want to know the steps. They want to know what you need. They're trying to be accountable and responsible and give you what you said you need. So make sure you set the right expectations. Ask for everything all at once. Make sure you have it. Make sure your system doesn't hide it, so you ask them the same document over and over and over. Make sure they know what they have to do, what you're going to do, what's going to happen, what the steps are, and they will be much better customers.
Absolutely. And again, it just goes back to that education. So letting them know, what the products are available, how they work, where's the money, explaining the maximum mortgage worksheet, talking about the process, and then setting the expectations. And that way there's no surprises throughout. And, even if they do come up, you've already talked about it. You've already laid that path. You've already told them exactly what's going to happen, and you've calmed them down. So part of the key is for you to remain calm and also communicate. Oftentimes I think just a phone call to someone, whether it's good news, bad news, whatever news, I've had the opportunity to write a couple books with Brian Tracy, and the first Brian Tracy book I ever read was Eat That Frog. And he talks about, get that horrible thing that you don't want to do out of the way first thing in the morning. And so get it crossed off the list. And he always says, if you have 2 ugly frogs to eat, then eat the ugliest one first. So get the worst thing out of the way. If it's going to be bad news, pick up the phone and deliver it and just let them know. And be honest and straight up. Don't procrastinate. But explain through the process and then let them know what the solutions are. I think that's what's really important in the process as well.
That's huge.
Step number 7, establish your follow-up. So during the process as well as after is important, right?
That's right. So what's going to happen with us is after your loan is underwritten and you get your conditional commitment, we'll assign a rental project manager. I think they have like 40 hours to work it into their pipeline. They're going to pick up the phone and call the borrower and talk about their loan type and what their tasks are and their benchmarks and what we need from them, what they're going to be doing. So they're actually talking to 2 people. They're talking to your regular credit processor and they're talking to a rental project manager. And we're asking for different things. And if they can keep those people separate, it goes smoother. They got a checklist from Reno and a checklist from Susan. Susan wants credit docs, income asset stuff, conditions, and Rini wants all the stuff about the construction, the renovation project. So, and then we send the calendar. So the project calendar is huge, goes to you, the loan officer, both agents, and the borrower, and it's just the benchmarks. And when you get it, don't freak out if the days don't line up with the contract date. It's just that we've taken 8 years of looking at renovation loans and tried to give everybody a reasonable expectation of what's going to happen and how much time people need to do what they need to do. So you can use that calendar to follow up, because you'll see we give the borrower 2 weeks to get their bids. So call them, see how it's going, ask if they have questions. Make sure you point them back to Rini if she's the project manager. If it's a credit condition they're not sure about, point them to Susan so she can clarify that. And just communicate with them and let them know that you're in their corner and you're coaching them and you're helping them get their stuff done. And then after the renovations are complete, we'll let you know. And then check in with them, because that's the time when you can get referral business from them, because they're happy. Okay? Even if the job didn't go as smoothly as they would like it, at the end of the day, they're in their beautiful house. It's the way they want it. It's their finishes, their color, their flooring, their dream home. They're happy. And they'd be happy to talk to you about their mom or their brother, their sister, their neighbor, or somebody else who might need a renovation loan. Okay? So it's really huge to follow up with your borrowers and build that and maintain that rapport. And then I'm going to let Ginger speak about capturing their success and leveraging it in your business.
All right. This is an important thing to do all the way through the process, but then afterwards to be able to build on that. So before we move on, I have a question. Do the borrowers on the loans on the front the money for the initial construction until the first draw, or is the contractor expected to pay for the first part of the construction?
So all three of these loans provide funds for the contractor up front. We don't expect the borrower to front any money, and we're not coming back to them to ask for any money, which is why there's a difference between the bid amount on a limited and the total loan amount, so 30 versus 35,000. So we've already financed inspections, title updates, contingency reserve, permits, all that stuff, and the contractor will get up to half of their material costs on a first draw shortly after the loan closes. We don't send it to the table because it just mucks up the accounting, but we'll close the loan, send the proceeds so everybody gets paid at the table, seller, realtors, everybody gets their money. Then we'll set up the borrower's escrow, and then we will contact the borrower, make sure we have the right mailing address or delivery address. We use FedEx or UPS next day, and we will automatically send checks for up to half of their material costs, usually within 5 to 7 days after the loan closes. The check will be en route.
Excellent. And then the next question is the processor and project manager from our company or yours? So
the processor is yours, because we looked at the whole process and figured out that most people doing loans have processing expertise. They don't have renovation construction expertise. So that's what we bring to the table. So the rental project manager is mine. They work in our ops center here. They're part of FAM. Your credit processing is on your side. And when you get your conditional commitment, it may be larger than what you're used to seeing. If you usually get a 2-page commitment, you may get one that's 4 pages. Take a breath. Don't panic. It's because we condition for all of the Reno conditions. And so if it says 203K, that's one that I'm responsible for. Or if it says HMSTY, which is home style, I'm responsible for those. And all the rest of the credit conditions, your regular processor is responsible for those.
Right. Okay, so if you have questions, I see some of you raising your hand. Type the questions in the Q&A panel or the chat panel, and we'll be sure to get to those. And I'm going to move on with what you need to do as far as creating the wow experience. And I talked about this a little bit earlier. It's what I call edu marketing, and I wrote about it in my book with Jack Canfield, which is Mastering the Art of Edu Marketing. And it's really about creating a campaign. And so we recommend to create a fixer-upper campaign, and it's something that you can do. There are a lot of great flyers that are available at FAMU, which is FAM's online university, so you can go in there and grab some flyers and use those as examples, but create an entire renovation marketing campaign. And don't just think about past customers, but also think about how you can get in touch with current homeowners and partner with someone, whether it's maybe a real estate agent and going through old listings. I know you have some great examples of that, William. If you want to partner with an individual who maybe is a home remodeler or does kitchen remodel or bath remodel or roofs or, fences or, things like that, they have a list too. So why not do something together and think about creating a renovation marketing campaign to be able to talk about the benefit of the renovation loan? Because I know, William, you have had some numbers in the past as far as how many people do renovations, but how many people pay out of their pocket or with their credit card, right? It's pretty high.
It's pretty high. I mean, if last year I think they finished and it was $389 billion in renovation financing, and I bet if I looked at the HUD, all 203K loans, 100 million, and if you add twice that for Fannie Mae, so you're 300 million out of, well, not even 300 million, 30 million, I'm trying to say. It's a tiny number. It's less than 2%.
That are using rental loans, but you look at how many are renovating. And a lot of people are renovating is because all you have to do is watch HGTV, which I do every night. So you can look at people are interested in doing that. But look about building out a campaign, get the word out through social media using the Renovation to Renovate marketing campaigns. And we have those available in FAMU. As you talk to your homeowners, add them to your marketing database and start them in some kind of a drip campaign. I am amazed, absolutely amazed at how many people don't stay in touch with their existing database. And guys, that's a gold mine for you. So set up a campaign to be able to drip some information to them about 203Ks, about renovation, about remodeling, about the money that they have within their home to be able to find the money to fix up their home. It's just like a love it or list it campaign that you could do and, make it fun, take some pictures, do things like that. Leverage your success. Create a web page. Start a video series. You can do your own love it or list it. You can create a video. If you're sitting down, all you need is one of these to get started. And so start out with taking the application. Ask if you can interview with them. Your phones are amazing videos. You don't need all the fancy stuff. Just start out with an interview, go through the process. Maybe taking pictures of them, selecting, what they're looking at, talking about what they're going to do to the home. And then once the process starts, you can go when they sign the paper, when they walk into the home, as they're doing the remodel, and then videotape all of those discussions and put them all together. If you don't know how to do it, that's okay. Go to your local college, your community college or university. Find a professor or teacher who is teaching this, because there are a lot of individuals that do an amazing job on videotaping that can help you through the process. You can create an internship program. It's not that you have to know how to do it, but you can have somebody help you to do it. And then if you create that videotape and think about putting together, and I call them intro and outro videos, where you kind of create your own love it or list it campaign and use them and give them that video that tells their story, then they're going to be able to share that. And you can hire an intern, you can create those videos, post it on your YouTube channel, and then send them the link to post on their social media, because they're more likely to share what? Their own story. And then as you're doing that, make sure that you're branding it and make sure you send it out. And so, you can do things like include the before and after photos. And if you don't have a campaign, email William. He has a bunch of examples of photos. And these are some, this is a bathroom that was a before photo, and this is an after photo. And so I love these kind of things because people are visual. And so there is nothing sexy about a mortgage, guys, but there is the visual as far as seeing an ugly kitchen like this one, right, William?
Yeah, this one's hideous.
And then what happens afterwards. So these are the kind of things you can drop into a campaign, even into a video, and just talk about, just like what we're doing here, where you do a before and an after. This one is staggering what happened with this house. And William, I'll let you set this up a little bit.
So this was actually a standard 203K loan that we did for a family in, I think they're in Pennsylvania, and they needed a bigger house. They love this neighborhood. So this is what they did. Okay, this was a standard 203K, took it down to the foundation, made it a little bit larger, and then built that on top of it. And it's a magnificent house. We actually have a video about it that's on our YouTube channel of them talking about it, walking through the house, and their deck up on the roof with the little roof patio bar. It's amazing. And the neighbors are still in awe.
So William, why don't you send me a copy of that, and I'll make sure and send that out in a follow-up email so you all can get an idea as far as how to do this.
Okay.
But these are the kind of things that you can do that'll make you stand out. And I'm seeing some questions coming in, and guys, I'm not ignoring you, but we're going to get to those in a minute. I want to finish through some of the things you can do to stand out, to kind of position yourself into doing these types of loans. I absolutely love this idea. I know I have some friends who did this, and they do a reveal housewarming party. Everyone wants to see a remodel. Everyone wants to see the before and after, and everyone loves to party. So what I recommend is tell your borrowers, hey, once you get done, we're going to have a reveal party. And I'm going to set up the invitation for you. You can set it up through Eventbrite. It's a free platform for you to set up an invitation. And then you set up the invitation, you send them the link, and all they have to do is forward it to their friends. Their friends register. What do you get? You get all of their friends' contact information. You can follow up with all of their friends. So instead of asking, hey, can you send me somebody? You do this. It's a very non-discreet way to be able to be self-promoting without being self-promoting, which I always love. And so they invite their neighbors, their friends, their family, because everyone wants to see what they did to the house. And then you can show the video of the progress during the party. Bring along some hot dogs. Bring, a bag of chips, some hot dogs, a Subway sandwich, some soda. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Do it with the real estate agent. Go to the housewarming party. Don't just do it and don't go. Go to the party, be there, because everybody that's going to be there, guess who they're going to talk to? You, the magic that made all this happen. And then take a videotape of the housewarming party. And again, put your intro and your outro on it that brands you, tells their story, post it on your YouTube channel, and send them a link. And so they're going to send that. It's like, oh my gosh, look at our reveal housewarming party. So instead of, again, it's being self-promoting without being self-promoting, and involving them in the process and making them a part of the story. And trust me, if you all do this, it will bring you back some great results. So I'm going to talk to you quick about, I started, William kind of alluded to this a little bit. So last year, I decided we don't have a resource in the mortgage industry that has a whole bunch of, what we need on it. So I created your own kind of Angie's List, if you will. It's called the Mortgage List. We have over 1,400 vendors on there. So if you're looking for accounting, for appraisals, for if you're going broker to banker, if you're looking for closing gifts, compliance, policies and procedures, whatever, we have a whole bunch of categories there. Of course, we have great wholesale lenders there. You can go there and find vendors you're looking for. And then we also have an event calendar. So one of the things too, it's hard to find events that are going on. So you can go there, and we're trying to keep all of the events that are going on in the industry current. So we also have some online training there. So all the webinars that Finance of America does, you can find there, as well as at FAMU. And it's easy to search. So go to the Mortgage List. It's free to register. Vendors, if you're on this call and you're a vendor, you can get on there. It's a free listing. We have a couple of upgraded options as well. But for you all, we just wanted to be able to create a resource for you in the industry. And we're going to be putting some additional information in there for marketing. I'm working with some social media experts. We're going to have some cool stuff up there pretty soon. So check back often. But for you all, find ways to be the standout. Think about ways that you can stand out in your community. I had the opportunity to speak at a Gary Vee event last month at Agent 2021. And the one thing that Gary talked about is be the mayor of your own town. And look for those ways to be the standout. And the renovation loan is a great way to do that. Finance of America is here to help you. We've created a lot of different marketing campaigns. We have training that's available. All those resources are available at FAMU. And if you don't know how to get onto FAMU, contact your Finance of America account executive, and they can help you to set up the account. And we do have 2 webinars that are coming up. This month, next week, Tuesday, February 19th, the 2 Extend closed and second, which is at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And then Wednesday, February 20th, William is going to be showing how to complete the FHA Max Mortgage Worksheet, which was one of our 7 points that we talked about. You can register at famuevents.com. And so we're going to go into our Q&A now, and we have quite a few questions. So if you want to stay on and listen to those questions and answers, you can do that. If you want to hop off and go find your Valentine or go get that last minute gift or roses or chocolates or whatever, you can hop off and do that. I want to thank you for attending. But William, let's go ahead and get into some of the questions. And the first one I'm going to ask you is, are the draws the same for the home style as they are for the limited 203K?
No, they are not. So here's the difference. The limited 203K allows each contractor, we allow up to 3 tradespeople on any job because it accounts for the most cosmetic type of renovations that happen. So you might have an electrician, a floor guy, and a roofer. So we'll pay them all half of their money when they start and the balance when they're done. On Fannie Mae Home Style, you can only have 1 general contractor. So even if he's doing all the things, it'll be under 1 general. We can advance up to half of the material cost to him, and then the rest would be by inspection. And Fannie allows up to 5 draws. So you might break it up. You know, it might be the same scope of work, but he might break it up in 3 or 4 draws.
Okay, perfect. And so next question, can foundation repairs be included?
Foundation repairs can be included on either the standard 203K or on Fannie Mae Home Style. So the differentiator between the limited and the standard is the limited allows for no structural repairs in your foundation, your structure, and it also does not require a HUD consultant. And we can have 3 tradespeople, whereas the standard requires 1 GC, but it includes the scope of work, like I showed you in the picture, of actually tearing the house down to the foundation and rebuilding it.
Very good. And what is the minimum credit score?
All of our products are DU approved eligible, and the minimum FICO is 620.
Okay. And then next question is, do we have some marketing material that outlines the steps of the renovation loan process in detail, or a checklist, something that can be used to guide them through the process?
We don't have it finalized. I have a draft of it on my computer because several people have asked for it because I've mentioned it and talked about it, and it doesn't actually exist. So give us a couple weeks and we'll have a nice flyer that has the steps and a checklist for you.
Okay, very good. And do they have to stay with the same contractor that approved the initial bids?
Works better, usually.
It helps.
The borrower has to pick the contractor. So I don't recommend them. I don't recommend you recommend them. I don't recommend your realtors recommend them. Borrower has to go into the market and find a vendor that they're comfortable with, that has the expertise to do what they need to have done. If they do that, they don't usually have to fire them. Firing the contractor means they basically start over, and they may start over with actually less money, because if you've already paid someone money and they're not going to give it back, then the question is, can the next contractor finish the job for less money? So ideally, they get the right selection at the beginning, but yes, no, they don't have to. They could fire their contractor and start over, but it just makes it more convoluted and more complicated and causes a lot more heartburn. Better to pick the right one at the beginning.
Exactly. So what happens to any additional funds that are left over after the construction is complete? Is that applied to principal?
On the limited 203K, it's automatically applied to principal. We can't do we can't use the contingency reserve, which is often left over, unless it's for health and safety things that come up during the construction. However, on the standard 203K and on Fannie Mae Home Style, the borrower can spend all the money we lent to them. Whatever's left over is usually from inspections or title updates if the fees go down a little bit, and those are applied to the principal. We don't send any cash back to the borrower, but we will do a principal abatement. We will not recast their mortgage automatically, so their payment's not going to change, but they'll have more equity in the property.
Very good. So that's it that I have for questions right now. I want to thank all of you for attending. William, thank you as always for your expertise. Lots of great information here. I am recording the webinar. I'm going to send a follow-up email to you tomorrow. We'll include a copy of the slide deck, a copy of the recording. And William, if you can send over to me a copy of that video that you have of the great Reno project, that would be fabulous. Oh,
okay.
I have one more late question in. Can this program be used for solar?
It can be used for solar as long as it's a purchase and not a lease.
On the solar.
On the solar. It has to be a purchase.
Okay, very good. If you do have any additional questions, please contact your Finance of America account executive. They're happy to help. And again, thank you all of you for being on the webinar today, and happy Valentine's Day to you. William, happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you, Ginger. Thanks, everybody.